So I'm Rachel Peterson from Esmeralda Coffee Farm in Panama. I'm going to put this in a way that I'm on the screen. Esmeralda is mostly known for geisha coffee. So I'm going to talk to you mostly about our geisha coffees. We have coffee producing regions and altitudes and qualities. So I think we're mostly going to talk about the auction coffees today because our auction is coming up on this Wednesday, the 28th. But we also have micro lots that we sell outside of the auction, Esmeralda specials, natural and washed. And we also have a private collection, which is per region or per farm. So we have a farm called Cañas Verdes, a farm called Jaramillo, and a farm called El Velo, all of which produce geisha coffee. And they have different taste profiles in general. So we try and look for the coffees that most represent that terroir and bring out the geisha coffee flavors as per that terroir. So for example, the Jaramillo region is very, very floral perfumed. It's not super high altitude. It goes from 1500 to about 1700 and 1750, I guess, with the higher lots there. But those coffees are, again, are very perfumed. A lot of peaches, apricots, and bergamot. And then we have coffees from the Cañas Verdes region, which are both of these are also in the auction. The coffees from the Cañas Verdes region, you're going to look for jasmine as well, perfume, florals. But you're also going to look for things like red berries and maybe yellow fruits like mango or papaya, more tropical fruits. And in El Velo region, we have, El Velo is our northernmost farm, and it gets it has different weather patterns. So in that farm, you're going to look for more spicy flavors. You're also going to get floral, but you're going to get more herbal, spicy, lemongrass, pepperish type flavors in the geisha in that one. So that is a general overview. Geisha coffee in general is, for it to be a good geisha coffee, it should have a strong floral character to it, such as jasmine, and it should have a fruit component to it, such as could be peaches and apricots, or it could be berries, or it could be any type of fruit. Cherries are very common too. And it should have bergamot in the cup, and it should have a solid acidity that'll carry it through, so it's still very, very sweet and floral as it cools. That's what we look for in a geisha.
Wow, Rachel, that's a long story. I'll try my best to translate that.
We can go over it one by one if you want. I always forget how to translate.
Okay, Rachel. So we have 3 topics today. One is the auction lot, and we are copying the auction lot. Actually, I already copied. And if you like to share more information about each lot, it will be better. So that's the first part. And the second.
Okay, so I'm going to start by telling you that we have 300 micro lots. So of those we chose, from those 300, we chose these 5 washed and 5 naturals that went into the auction. And I actually would have to look up my notes to remember very specific details on it. I can give you a general on each one, but like I would have to look up if you want to know specific things about it. So what are you talking about, flavor profile or just in general? Which is your favorite for starters? We can talk about that one.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea. My favorite and your favorite, and maybe some clients, because some clients also get the sample.
Okay.
And they can say what's their favorite. My favorites in watch the lot. My favorite is number 4. Number 4, Montana.
Montana.
Yes. This is my favorite one.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to start by saying that obviously all 10 of them were my favorites. Otherwise, they wouldn't go on the auction. So out of 300, we chose 10. So I would say that from the Cañas Verdes region, that was my favorite as well, the Montaña. And the Montaña is always a very, very well-performing coffee. It's very complex. It has a lot of different things going on in the cup at the same time. So you're not only going to find the jasmine, but you're going to find a lot of complexity in the cup. So it's going to have more than having solely stone fruit. It's going to have, again, cherries and red fruit and mango in it, is what I have in my notes. And the Montaña will always do well. It's normally the coffee that we choose from that region for our Best of Panama competition. So it's a very strong performing coffee all of the time. The other coffees from there, Leon has also been a winner, and there are certain cuts of Leon that are really very nice. This one, for example, we cupped many, many times before we decided to put it in the auction because not all of the Leons perform as well, but this one was very bright and it was full of flavor. So we decided to include that. Lino is a coffee that is more subtle as you start to cup it. So it won't have the rush of aromatics when you first smell it, but it is an extremely elegant floral cup. So the flavor profile will come out a little bit later in the cupping, but it will cool down and it will be very floral all the way through until the end. Always elegant, Lino. Mario is the most well-known coffee that we have because our coffee was originally found on the Mario slope of Jaramillo. It's always a popular choice. Also, again, this one is going to be full of peaches and apricot and jasmine and bergamot. But from that side, from the Jaramillo farm, my favorite this year was the Noria. And so Noria it's also a well-performing coffee. It's another micro lot in the region of Jaramillo, and it was just a jasmine bomb this year for me, and it was full of flavor. So I found a lot of cherries, and let me go back to my notes here. I remember this coffee, actually. I don't really have to look it up, but it had what I'm always looking for, which is intensity of jasmine and stone fruit.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand your choice, and yes, I think it's an excellent choice. Yeah. Then again, as I said, I think that all of these coffees are excellent. That's why I chose them for this, and hopefully everybody will have a different favorite coffee. That will make the auction easier.
Okay. 刚刚 Rachel 说呢，就是我问 I think we can just move on because I already cupped all the coffees.
Okay.
And let's talk about the
Out of curiosity, though, which was your favorite natural?
Oh, my favorite, number 5. I love it.
Oh,
number
good.
5. Let me check.
Excellent.
This is Tumaco.
Yes, Tumaco.
That's my favorite one.
Excellent.
Because it's super floral and some like pineapple and very fruity.
Very fruity, yes. Very fruity.
And it's super sweet too, like honey. I love this one. And the other one, the second one is number 2. It's the tropical fruit, the flavor.
The Mario.
The Mario, yes.
Yes.
Yes, these two. Number 5 is my favorite, and then it's number 2. So what's your choice?
Let me look at my notes here. On the number 1, I have bright and balanced with notes of jasmine, cherries, and blueberries. That's the Mario, that's the Cabana. Then on the Mario, I have intensely floral geisha, smooth and clean cup, brimming with notes of nectarines and peaches, which is typical for that. On the Norias, I love both of the Norias. I usually don't put 2 Norias, but I really like the Noria this year. clean and sweet geisha with notes of jasmine, bergamot, and apricot. And then the second one, I have fruit bomb, full of notes of tropical fruits and red berries. So I found them a little bit different. And then on the Tumaco, full-bodied geisha, which is something that I enjoy a lot. So many times the geishas can be a little light-bodied. Full-bodied geisha with notes of candy, tropical fruits, and intense jasmine. So that's the Tumaco.
I remember
All of them
last.
have something different. Yeah. Oh, we went there. The last time you came, we went there.
Last year.
Exactly.
Is it last year? Yes, last year. And the year before last year, we go to
last
the
year
region
nobody
called
came.
Leon.
That's what did you come in February before the pandemic?
Yes.
I can't remember. I think you did, right? Yeah.
That's
you guys were the last group to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just drive me there. I mean, your car. And asking some stupid question. I remember I asked you like, where is the Caña Verde? And you're like, oh, Caña Verde is like everywhere. Here is Caña Verde. I should ask you where's the Leon?
Yeah. Yeah, I could have shown you. It's right before we get up to the gate that opens up where we went in to drive up to the cabin. Right on the right-hand side, if you go down a small path there, and that's where the area of Leon is. Very close to where we were. Tumaco, we had to walk quite a bit, remember?
Yeah. I remember the view in Leon.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful. Oh, is it the highest altitude of all the region?
Which one? Not the Leon. The Montaña is higher, but of these, but higher than the Montaña, we have Nido. And Nido, I didn't put in the auction because I wanted to, well, actually, I think I would have put it in the auction, but we had very small quantities, so it seemed difficult to put it in the auction. But we'll have more Nido next year. Nido is, from the Cañas Verdes region, definitely the highest elevation. It's around 2,000 and a bit. It's a newer production.
Wow. Okay.
The Montaña right now is the highest. Okay.
Okay, Rachel, let's dive into the second part.
Okay.
Q&A. I'm super excited to be live with you. Oh, this is the first time we're online, right? The first time.
Yes.
The live stream.
First time I've ever done a live stream, so for sure it's the first time.
Yeah. This is the first time.
On Facebook, at least, yeah.
I just started up a series. It's called Coffee Sidekicks. We like to have some video to introduce the stories from the origin. And
nice.
Hacienda Esmeralda is the first episode.
Thank you.
I'm so happy. Okay, let's dive into Q&A. Okay. I would like to know that what's the difficulties you're facing pre and pro the COVID-19?
Pre and post COVID?
Yeah,
there's different things because COVID brings different difficulties. So the difficulties that we normally are going to have to do with weather, with the rains or with not enough rain, or with this year, the main problem was that we did not have enough sunshine. So there was too much overcast and cold. So it was difficult because some of the coffees didn't develop the flavor profile correctly. So because they don't have enough sun radiation, and they need the sun radiation to produce the sugars and all the things that they have inside of them, so they become much more acidic, but less sweet. So one of the things that we can do for that is bring down the humidity level inside of the bean so that it's not so much water activity. And it will, when it dries a little bit more and it has lacked enough sun radiation, it will stabilize a little bit and the sugars will come out correctly. So that was the main problem that we had this year. We didn't have enough sun radiation. But we worked through it and we were able to get the humidity levels on those coffees a little bit further down, and the flavor profiles came through okay. But normally it's better to have more sunshine, because otherwise the plant itself, it just doesn't receive enough radiation from the sun to be able to transform and do all the processes that the plant needs. And those processes are important for the sugars to come through on the coffee. And for the acidity is fine, because it'll have a lot of acidity. It's the opposite of what's happening right now in France with the winemakers. So the winemakers right now, their weather is too warm and they have too much sugar and not enough acidity. So here, it's okay, we can work with it, but we would prefer to have more sun. More sun radiation is better. It's been very cold this year. The COVID problem is still a problem, because we had coffees that we couldn't harvest because the harvesters had COVID. So when there's an outbreak of COVID here in Panama, they'll go to the farm and they'll shut down. If there's enough cases, they'll shut down that area where the workers pick or live, where the workers live while they're picking. So we had problems with that, but not very many problems. We did a lot of things to make sure that our harvesters didn't have to be exposed that much. For example, we bought a lot of food that they could take with their salary. They could buy at cost all of the food, so they didn't have to go to the supermarket. Things like telephone cards, which they needed because virtual education and all that kind of stuff for their kids. There was no school. We did a lot of changes inside of our warehouse so that the harvesters would not have to be in contact with people that might have COVID, but it was impossible to avoid. Anyway, it came to all of the farms ended up having COVID to some degree. Nobody got very sick. Nobody died. People got better, but we were very careful. And we had all the precautions there so that people would have the masks and they would have alcohol. But you know, it's contagious and people get it. And fortunately, we didn't have any bad cases. So everybody was okay. The only problem was, as I mentioned, in one case where the Jaramillo farm the pickers' quarters had to be quarantined for 2 weeks, and we had coffee that needed to be harvested at that time, which couldn't be harvested.
Oh wow! All right, let me translate.